Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Department Podcast, a special edition wrestling recap version of the Department Podcast, where myself, Stephen Clark, my dirty blonde, Jesse Norman, my blonde, Justin Valentovic, are here to break down NXT Takeover 31. Just to start off, great show all around, but we'll get to that. But fellas, before we get into the ring and all that stuff, how you doing on this Sunday night?
Like you said, Clark, it was a great show all around. Basically, all 5 matches delivered, and the show as a whole was really good. And, Football Sunday, week 4, basically in the book, sort of. Colts got a dub, so I'm rocking my Quentin Nelson shirt. You got yours. Jesse, your team had a bye week, so that's fun.
Yeah, an unscheduled bye week, so that was good.
Sunday Night Football right now is kind of completely miserable, but Clark, your Heat also got a win, so they're not getting swept out of the finals.
We're not getting swept.
You had a good day all around. Football, basketball, and some good wrestling.
I had a phenomenal day. Exactly. Wrestling, football, basketball, and the rest of football throughout today. So far I'm winning my fantasy league, but that's not going to last for long. But good day all around. But we're here not to talk about any of that stuff right now. We're here to talk about wrestling and only wrestling. And speaking of old wrestling in a way, and wrestling in the past, there were rumors and stuff getting leaked and throughout the day talking about the CWC. Now you might be asking, what's the CWC? Well, back in 1950 something, I don't know, Vincent J. McMahon
the father,
founded the Capital Wrestling Corporation, which is known for basically the start of wrestling as a whole, but Triple H is kind of mixing that up a little bit and is calling the Performance Center now, where they're now shooting NXT and shooting takeovers, the Capital Wrestling Center. So we saw that for the first time tonight, and I want to get your thoughts of how it looked. So Justin, let me know what you think.
It's as good as it could be for a watered down Thunderdome inside the Performance Center. Initially, when it came out that they were saying it was going to be fans, I thought they were just going to have them on bleachers kind of spread apart. I didn't think, and when they revealed it on Twitter, around 3:00-ish, whenever they dropped that thing with Vic Joseph, they didn't show the digital boards that they had with the people. They just showed dark lights, smoke. What I really liked about it was the plexiglass was covered by, like metal fencing. So at least it kind of looked like an underground cage fighting type of thing. But then when the show started, they had actual fans there.
Yeah.
On top of them, the digital boards. So they combined best of both worlds. So really, this is going to be the early steps then of the Thunderdome, removing the first row of, screens and putting in fans on the floor. But then you lose the pyro, but they can re-put that somewhere else. Who cares at that point? But this is basically a beta test for what the Thunderdome will probably turn into.
Yeah, I agree. I think it looks good. No, yeah. I think they genuinely are like testing it out to see if they want to do this with the Thunderdome when they want to bring fans back in. But I thought it was good. I liked it. It didn't. My biggest thing with arenas always is, even if it doesn't add anything, as long as it doesn't take anything away, I'm good with that.
And I think that's what they did really well, is covering up, the big ass ceiling fan. They added a better light rig so that like the metal struts at the top of the Performance Center were kind of hidden away a little bit better. Like when they moved out,
a little cleaner.
That's the thing. When they moved out to the Amway Center for the main shows and they were moving in here, they did a better job at covering everything up instead of just half-assing throwing it together. Obviously at the beginning of the Performance Center, it was half-assed thrown together because that's basically all the time everyone had at that point. So this is definitely a better version of what the Performance Center was originally.
Yeah, no, I agree with both of you guys. I think it looks cool. Another thing is, I know a lot of people were complaining that a lot of the fans weren't wearing masks some of the times, too. But the governor of Florida did say that it's not mandatory to wear masks inside. So you can't blame the people for that. Blame the government down in Florida if you want to get mad at people down there. But yeah, so just people complaining about that.
But then people on Twitter were killing them throughout the show, like, WWE, enforce your mask policy. And there were a few people who didn't have it on, like in the earlier matches, who later on did. So maybe WWE was patrolling Twitter and kind of said,
I think so.
Definitely. In between matches, tell them to put it on. So that's probably what happened.
Because the performers aren't wearing masks, obviously, in the ring, so it's a harm to them too.
Exactly.
Exactly. All right. So that's a little way to start.
No, it's good for basically dropping it. The day of the show with no momentum for it. It turned out really well.
Yeah, I thought it was really well done. All right, let's get into some action. We started off the show with the North American title match. We had Damien Priest defending his title against Johnny Gargano. And like Justin said at the beginning of the show, every match like performed really well. Really well done. Jesse, what did you think about this match between Priest and Gargano?
I thought it was good. I thought it was a really good opener. Especially it set the tone high.
Yeah.
And the one thing that was like weird to me was they like played the stair thing a lot.
Yeah.
But then like nothing happened.
They never went to it. They teased it again.
They teased it over and over and over again, and then they didn't do it, which I was like, that's a little weird. Usually if like you tease something continuously over and over again,
it's gonna happen.
You eventually do it, which makes me think maybe this isn't done yet.
Could
possibly.
be.
Or maybe this like is like the Priest character now going to become like obsessed with steel steps?
Hey, people find weird obsessions and all that stuff.
I feel like it's definitely not over because I'm trying to find the tweet, but Gargano basically said, I could do better than this. I'm better than this. I will do better than this. So
that's fine.
You know, his mission, you know, for the show for him and, you know, Candece LeRae were to come back with both belts. You know, obviously we'll get into it later, but, you know, half of that was accomplished. Sort of. No, it wasn't actually. Never mind.
Nothing was accomplished.
I don't know what I'm talking about. But you know what, the Gargano, him being the ref kind of screwed me up a little bit. But, you know, it's definitely not over yet. And we'll probably see something at Halloween Havoc maybe, because, you know, that's a thing again.
You're right. But I think the steel steps thing was a callback to Takeover in Your House, because Priest did take that bump on the steps in his match with Finn Balor.
Yeah.
So I think that was
saying. That's why I was saying maybe Priest is going to become like a steps guy, like how Triple H has the sledgehammer and stuff. He just likes the steps.
Seth Rollins is also a steps guy. He's also an eye guy.
Priest can have a stairs match.
Even
though it's already legal.
Never bring those back. Or it was TLC with stairs.
Yeah, tables, ladders, and chairs and stairs. You know.
Oh God. No, but this match was really good. I could watch another few matches of this. Hopefully, it just doesn't turn into the U.S. title where it's just constantly the same thing. Maybe just give a blow off match at Halloween Havoc and, you know, call it dead and gone.
Yeah,
and move on
I think
at that
that's
point.
what they'll do. I think they'll have it at Halloween Havoc.
Yeah, I think so too. Because we'll touch on that right now. We have Halloween Havoc coming.
Yeah, they just dropped that ad in the middle of nowhere.
I kept saying too before this takeover. I was like, you're having a takeover in October. Why don't you make it Halloween Havoc?
Exactly.
And they listened.
They listened to Jesse.
It seems like NXT is going to be pulling, you know, live like non-takeovers that are themed for the holidays now.
That, and it's nostalgic. That's the thing too, and that's what people like. That's what wrestling fans love.
Fucking pumpkin.
Okay, Justin wants a pumpkin, so Hunter.
Well, I'm just saying because, like, at least like for In Your House, they brought out the house in a Great American Bash. They had some cars. Give me a fucking pumpkin.
That's all you want? The pumpkin?
Yeah, I want the pumpkin and the big ass like blow up. Like, give me some gravestones and a pumpkin, and I'll be happy.
If they don't have a pumpkin, we'll go pumpkin picking together. Okay.
I'll get
you a pumpkin. Okay. All right. But no, Halloween Havoc's coming up. It's being hosted by Shotzi Blackheart, which is the perfect person to host the event because she's very gothic and spooky and whatever you want to call Shotzi. So it's fun. It's nostalgic. All the old heads love that. All like the Attitude Era guys love that. So
and it's on a Wednesday too. So is AEW doing something that they're counter programming?
Probably.
Most likely.
Probably, honestly.
Or if they weren't, they are now.
Yeah, they'll probably have like Fyter Fest 3 or something. But anyways, back to the action. We finished up that North American title match. That was very, very good. Another thing we have to talk about, a little bit of fun right here. I'm gonna have a little fun with this one. You know how Kushida walks to the ring dressed as Marty McFly and all that stuff usually. So what does Dream do? Comes down as the Doc. He comes down as the Doc. But do you know what? Have you guys seen Back to the Future before?
Doc Brown gets shot.
I've seen enough of it, yeah.
Well, yeah, you've seen enough of it. You know Marty McFly and you know Doc, all right?
Yeah.
Doc Brown, an older guy, hanging out with the teenager. That remind you of something?
Oh, God.
That remind you of something?
Oh God.
A little too personal there, huh?
And WWE played into the Back to the Future thing too on Twitter, so they were definitely aware of what was going on too.
They knew it was happening, but that's the little joke I wanted to get in there that I caught.
You've been sitting on that all night.
I've been waiting for that. I've been waiting for that for so long, but Dream came down as Doc Brown. It was cool. It was a cool little thing because
this would have been perfect for Halloween Havoc.
Yeah, they were both dressed up basically. Yeah, honestly, they might run that back too. But no, it was really good. Kushida's new attitude is really good, and Justin, where do you think this goes with Kushida? Do you think he finally gets like a title match or something, a world title, a mid-card title? Where do you see this
He'll
going?
probably, he's definitely small enough for the NXT title.
You mean
Not
the
NXT title, the cruiserweight title.
Yes. Okay.
And you kind of saw him after the match too. Like he kept going and trying to damage the shoulder of Dream too. So maybe they're trying to slowly turn him heel. Maybe, or maybe he was just fed up with Dream to an extent that he was just tired of his shit.
Well, we're all tired of Dream and his stuff.
Yeah,
but
that's
it could just be the continuation of them just completely burying him on television.
That's fine with me. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I would prefer him to not be on TV, but if he's got to be,
might as well have him lose.
Losing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's interesting the thing that they did with Kushida before, because they kept talking about how he was this great international signing, and then they basically didn't talk about how he hasn't done anything for over a year.
Yeah, literally nothing.
So and this was his first takeover match. But no, the match was okay. I thought I didn't love it.
It was definitely the weakest out of the whole show. But
agreed.
I mean,
that's a dream match though.
Well, yeah, that also kind of knocks it down a few points too. But something had to be last.
It was fine. It really got over the whole Kushida's really aggressive and wants to hurt Dream. Has the Dream Valley Driver ever won Velveteen Dream a match, by the way? Like ever?
Not a significant match.
Did it win the North American title? Or was the elbow that won it?
I think it was the elbow. And anyone that I remember him actually winning, I think, was the elbow.
Yeah. I don't know. Whatever. We don't like Dream here. So I respect his in-ring talent. I don't respect what he does outside the ring.
It's kind of like when like an actor, gets charged or sexual allegations. It kind of taints their work. Then it's the same thing.
Yeah. But I like this Kushida a lot. I really do. He needed some sort of personality to be able to thrive and shine in NXT. So this fits him well, and hopefully he gets a little bit of a push, and we see something made out of this. But let's talk about the cruiserweights now. You said Kushida could be in the cruiserweight division if he wanted to, which would be kind of cool. But we had a cruiserweight title match, and the result of this shocked me. It did. I know you guys picked Escobar to win. I picked Swerve Scott. I think I was just biased picking Swerve Scott at this point, but Swerve. But Escobar retained in another great match. But one thing I want to talk about is, do you guys know who that Ashanti Adonis guy is that came out?
Not at all. No clue.
Okay, good. I thought I was alone on that one, not knowing who that was. But he came to the aid of Swerve because El Legado del Fantasma and all them came to help him.
And they didn't really get involved too much either.
No, not really.
No, they didn't.
But it was good. The match was good as a whole. Justin, where are you seeing the cruiserweights going from here, man? It seemed like it's just these two in the division, and they're not doing anything else with anybody else.
I think the best move is to put Kushida in the NXT,
the
cruiserweight title shot, just because, like Jesse said before, they haven't done jack with him in over a year since they've had him, and if they're trying to make Escobar kind of like the top guy in the cruiserweight, and they even say like he's the most dominant cruiserweight champion they've had.
Yeah.
How do you get over Kushida then by taking the belt off of him at that point?
Yeah.
I would say Kushida, if they're done with Gargano Priest, which I don't think they are, Gargano would be a good one.
Because maybe he can be like, well, I can't get that one done, but I'll go over here now.
Yeah. Like it doesn't matter. I just need a title. I just need that title.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what other cruiserweights they've really had.
Tony Nese.
Minimal.
Like it's.
Remember when Tony Nese was the guy that was built up for like a full year?
Hey, yeah, he won at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
he won at Mania 35.
That's when the belt was a joke. Still.
Hey, I like Tony Nese.
No, I'm saying like that's when Raw was like cruiserweights are exclusive, and they were just
purple ropes.
The purple rope. Oh god.
They still have 205 Live, I think, too. It's on still Fridays after SmackDown.
I remember I watched the original episode of that show,
and that's it.
And then never again.
Justin not a fan, but just something else Justin's not a fan of I want to touch on, because he texted me this wasn't really part of the show. You're not a fan of Alicia Taylor. You're not a fan of the NXT ring announcer. Tell me why, Justin. Tell me why.
It just seems like she's trying too hard to make it like gritty or like Fight Club-esque or like Mad Max Thunderdome. I don't know. It's just something about it. Like, it just seems like she's trying too hard.
I get your point.
Out of the 3 ring announcers, she's definitely my least favorite. I'll put it that way.
Mike Rome's my least favorite, but I don't think Mike Rome's that good. That's just me. But
that's just a side note. It just irks me. It just irks me.
It's
But
just a little break in the action.
That's just something I'm
quickly.
nitpicking at this point for this show.
Yeah.
And
if that's your only nitpick for the show,
I think I text you at every NXT like takeover or like special at least once a show.
You do. You're like, I hate her. She's too
rough.
rough.
And it's usually by like the title match. I'm like, I'm over it at this point. But it's like I've been watching it for 2 hours at that point. I was quiet until then.
My God, Alicia Taylor, keep doing your job the way you're told to do it, and just
keep annoying me.
Keep annoying Justin. It's not that hard to annoy Justin, so just keep doing that.
Stupid ass cricket is though. Chirp it a few times.
Oh yeah. Let's go now to our one and only women's match of the night. We had Io Shiri defending her women's title against Candece LeRae. A lot of Gargano antics towards the end because the ref got knocked down. Johnny Gargano came out wearing a ref shirt. And stellar match again, another stellar match. Shiri retained and all that. But then we got a little bit of returns, a couple of returns to talk about. That's the main part of the match, the returns. First of all, on the big Titantron, you got Toni Storm coming out. Great to see her back. She
not really coming out, but just kind of Skyping in.
Yeah, you know, Skyping in.
FaceTimed.
Yeah, FaceTime. There you go. Toni Storm on the Titantron saying she's coming back to NXT. She was with them for a little bit, then had to go back to UK because of everything going on. But then the more important one, I would say, the one we were debating on our recap episode, you had the motorcycle person. We're like, Bo Dallas, Ember Moon. Who is it? It's Ember Moon. Ember Moon must be healed, must be back. Jesse Norman, tell me, where does the women's division go from here? Which number one contender is first? What's going on?
I think it depends on if they're ready to take the belt off Io. If you want to wait a little bit longer, I say you do Toni Storm first, have her lose, and then do Ember Moon. Maybe do Toni Storm at Halloween Havoc, and then you could do Ember Moon at the next takeover,
which would be paired with Survivor Series then probably.
But I don't know if they're ready to take the belt off of Io.
I don't think so either.
So for me, before getting in where it's going from here, with Toni Storm, the video being played basically, initially I'm like, okay, then the motorcycle person has to be a man at that point, because you're getting one return already for the women's title. So, why double down? And they double downed. It's just interesting then that they paired Toni Storm with Ember Moon both on TakeOver. You would have thought maybe they would have saved this for regular TV for Toni Storm and Ember Moon for TakeOver, since they've been building the TakeOver return for a little over a month now at that point. With that being said, though, it's fantastic that Ember Moon's back at that point because it's been over a year and a half.
Yeah, she's been
year since like July of last year, so like a year.
It's a long time,
3 months or so.
Yeah,
and it was a brutal injury.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Ember Moon was one of my favorite wrestlers in the company when she did get hurt.
Well, because it was an ankle injury, and usually ankles, if you break an ankle,
it was an Achilles.
Okay. No, but I know that it was like the whole thing though. Like if that was a significant amount of time, it's a significant injury. For a while, she thought it was career ending.
She tore her Achilles off the bone.
Literally off.
Basically, while she broke her ankle, she also ruptured her Achilles.
That's like, remember when Darren Sproles broke his leg and tore his ACL at the same time?
Yeah, still came back too.
Yeah, well, Ember Moon came back too.
There you go. But yeah, no, Ember was really contemplating retiring and all that stuff when she was on WWE backstage on FS1. She was like, don't know if I'm coming back, don't know when to return it. That was also a year ago now too, but a year later, she's back in the ring. Is she going to be heel? She's looking kind of heel to me.
It's almost the Slumber Party video night again, because she looks like she's someone out of Mad Max. Like with the shoulder pad and like a post-apocalyptic look to it.
Head and all that stuff.
It's a post-apocalyptic look to it. And the Thunderdome was also from Mad Max, just putting that one out there too. So the whole name is literally from a movie.
It's the Vince McMahon Slumber Party. I guess he invited Paul that night to the.
But getting back to your initial question, I agree a lot with Jesse though. Like it makes sense to put Toni Storm just on a one-off TV type of thing at Halloween Havoc, and that buys you time then to build up Ember Moon for the next major takeover.
I think
Because
If
why
you
give that
put
match away
Ember
on free
in the
TV?
title match, you don't have her lose.
But then at that point, now is Candece LeRae officially done with the women's title hunt? Then
I think so. She literally did everything she possibly could have, and she lost.
and
There's nothing else
This
that
could have been
done.
a goodbye then to the Garganos.
maybe they're getting drafted.
It really could
Maybe.
be. It
That-
really
Can
could
we
be.
talk about that real quick then too, Clark?
Yes. So there was a tweet sent out today. Let me pull it up so I get the exact wording and all that stuff so I don't mess it up. Which said the number one draft pick for each brand should be #Raw blank, #SmackDown blank, and then #NXT blank. But then it got deleted, got re-uploaded without the NXT in it.
So I want
just tickling the balls a little bit, or is it just
or was it just a mistype?
So the
I
way
think it
I
was
see it
just a
is you can't mistype and put NXT the whole with the hashtag and then the emoji next to it. So what I
Yeah.
think it's going to be is they're saying it's Raw and SmackDown, but probably this week because the draft is this week,
this
basically Friday.
coming up? Yeah.
On NXT, they'll probably announce that they're getting draft picks.
Yeah, like every two that Raw and SmackDown get, they get one or something.
I feel
I hate that.
That's
I
what they
feel-
used to do with ECW, isn't that?
I know, but when they did that with Raw and SmackDown too, where they're like Raw gets 3 picks, SmackDown gets 2.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
Raw is just taking everybody.
and I know
Well, Raw
this is
does need more for the 3 hours.
They
so-
do. and this is this show's about
Yeah,
Takeover, but
still.
getting back to the draft too, it's like I would really like them to pull the North American title off of it, just drop the NXT from it, make it just the general North American title, and bring over the US or Intercontinental as the main mid card for NXT then and really spice things up. Because we haven't seen that. If they're getting draft picks, that's what they should do.
So would you call those titles the NXT Intercontinental Champion and the NXT US Champion, or
See, if they want to make NXT the legitimate third brand, I would just drop the NXT from the belts,
Me too.
from
I
the
don't
mid
know
card
if they
belt.
fully want to make them main roster.
They
though.
do, but they don't
I
at
think
the same
they
time.
still like the idea of them still being developmental, because then when they don't pull in the ratings and when they don't like pull in these big, contracts, it's like, oh well, yeah, obviously it's developmental. Why would it?
But also the Intercontinental belt is a very NXT-esque designed looking
yes,
belt.
yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
Minimalistic, just black and gold, and that's it.
yeah?
So, and if they do bring it over, then just call it the NXT Intercontinental Championship and call it a day. But that's what I like to see with the draft. If they do get draft picks for some reason,
Yeah, no,
Which I think they are.
That'd be fun. I'm excited for the draft. Hopefully NXT is involved in. But that's not even like WWE on Fox that tweeted it out. It was WWE.
it was their main account.
It was their main account, so it has to mean
I think it was.
something.
I think it was a mistake that they leaked by accident.
I think so too.
And
Which is
why?
cool.
Yeah, why get rid of it then? I think they're just saving it to announce it for something.
Yeah, they were. But anyways, the women's division in NXT, the most stacked women's division across all of wrestling.
It's
Raw,
definitely getting-
SmackDown.
It just got 2 more.
It's definitely getting rated to some degree then, since they added
Rhea's got
Rhea.
Rhea's gone.
Mhm.
LeRae's probably got to
Definitely.
go.
Rhea and Candice probably, yeah.
Yeah.
They need women on Raw. They badly need women on Raw because Charlotte's out, Becky's out. A lot of them are out on Raw. So, but anyways, a lot of talent on the NXT. Grab your bacon materials because there's a lot of cake on NXT now. All right, let's move to the main event of the show. Wow. All I got to say is wow again. Kyle O'Reilly, Finn Balor, a brawl, just a hard fought match. And they were just selling like crazy. And Finn was selling these like injuries here. And you know how Finn has his shoulder history of problems, and Finn was selling that. And just O'Reilly just being who he is and cementing himself as a main event guy in NXT now. But overall, Finn Balor retained. Finn Balor beat Kyle O'Reilly for the championship and retained his title. And before we get into what happened after the match, Justin, I'll go to you now, going back and forth. What are your initial thoughts of this match?
We all talked about it, on the prediction show where this is going to be a great match. It lived up to the hype. It met expectations, right?
Yeah.
And I've kind of noticed across even not just NXT, but WWE for, the pay-per-views, the matches seem to be a little more hard hitting. Like they're getting a lot more physical. Obviously both of them bleeding, looks like O'Reilly bit his lip and Finn, who the hell knows what happened in there.
Broke
Finn
his
looked like he
jaw,
had
maybe?
internal bleeding.
Like it was
That's
brutal.
what it looked like.
If planned or not, it kicked, the notches up on this match then. Like it made it a much more believable match that O'Reilly is at basically at every point fighting for his dream of getting a title. You know, obviously he came up short. And I like that at the end, you know, Finn and O'Reilly stood together. You know, like it was a sign of respect, even though they kicked the living shit out of each other. You know, they're still good and they respect each other as competitors. And just the match was definitely one of the best NXT matches I've seen in a while for a main event.
Wow, putting it up there that high, really?
I was entertained throughout the whole time and I was into it.
No, I respect it for sure.
I'm happy too that the Era didn't get involved. Obviously, at the end of the match, we know why the Era then basically didn't get involved.
Yeah.
But I'm glad it didn't take, because if they did, I feel like it would have taken away from the match a little bit.
Yeah, no Era, like you just said. I was going to bring that up too. No Era, no nothing. Just a hard fought match, like you said, Justin, too. Both guys bleeding from the mouth, just very, very physical. And that's what you get out of a Kyle O'Reilly match to begin with. Kyle O'Reilly makes hits look stiff and sells hits to be stiff. So that's what you're getting from an O'Reilly match. And adding Finn Balor, who can basically do the same thing as him, but put times 10 from Finn Balor, is just a perfect combination. But I'd agree with you a little bit. That's one of the better main events, maybe of 2020.
Of the quarantine era.
Quarantine era. No, I'd agree with that too.
I think it was a different main event because it was so hard hitting. It was slow, but not in a bad way. And like it was just every move had so much impact. Every strike was just so much.
And having fans for it, they were into it every bit of the way. Like they were hitting the plexiglass. They were making as much loud noise as they could. And that really helped elevate it a little bit more too.
Yeah, shout out to the fans for also not cheering when Ember Moon showed up.
Right? Like, did not know
literally felt like nothing. And I was like, this is a huge deal.
Yeah.
It also didn't pop when Toni Storm came on the
Jumbotrons.
The Jumbotron.
Oh, that's ridiculous. But no, that's ridiculous. But no, they were.
They got into this match.
Yeah, no, I guess they don't like the females. I don't know. But they weren't hyped for this match. But a little way to end NXT. You know how NXT likes to end their shows. They like to end their shows with a little like tickle of the balls and like, oh, what's going to happen next week and all this stuff. So what they did for this show, it wasn't an Undisputed Era turn. It wasn't Finn Balor joining the Era or O'Reilly getting kicked out or Cole getting kicked out. It was Ridge Holland walking to the ring with Adam Cole draped over his shoulder, dumped him, dipped, and that's it.
I had to laugh when they like O'Reilly and Fish were asking.
Oh my God!
And Roger Strong asking Finn, like, "What happened?" You're like,
"What happened? Did you see?"
Like, how she?
O'Reilly was in a match.
They were in the match. Like, that was dumb. That was stupid. But and
it's
I have suspicion because it's like, when is Cole not with Fish and Strong?
That's what I was gonna say. Where were they during this?
Where were they during this? And also, can that make Cole like turn on them or not? You know,
yeah, that's how
not like them as much because they didn't have his back.
Or is it a UK faction, a Finn Balor sort of UK faction that he's just acting like, oh, I have nothing to do with this, and maybe Finn and Ridge are like with two other guys, or just Finn and Ridge together as like a little team, like Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez are. Maybe a little something like that too.
But see, I feel like Finn doesn't need like muscle around him.
I agree.
Would it be cool? Yeah. Does he need it? No. You know, it could go either way.
But it's very intriguing because NXT loves to do this. We all know this. NXT always likes to end with this type of stuff. But it's different. It's very different because I don't think if you would have asked any of us going into TakeOver that we would have said the end would have been Ridge Holland carrying Adam Cole.
When it first cut to him, I was like, wait a minute. Is that Pat McAfee? I thought we already did that.
That would have been
so much better. At first, I was like, wait a minute. I'm all in for another Pat McAfee match.
Yeah.
But it wasn't.
No, it was a shorter, stockier, more muscular Pat McAfee. But no, I'd be down for another McAfee match like, too.
What did the Era do for him to kick the shit out of Cole?
That's what they're doing.
That's what we're waiting to find out.
That's what we're waiting to find out now, Justin.
Yeah.
But overall, I just want to get your out of 10 ratings. 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. Jesse, I'll start with you. Where do you rate this show?
Give me about like a 8-ish.
8. Respect.
I think the Kushida Dream match
brought it down to 2 points.
It wasn't really that good in my opinion. Like I just didn't like it that much. And Everything else was good. I thought they ended a lot of stories, or at least they set up stories to be ended, but
Yep.
I want to see if they're actually over or
Yeah.
what ones they're going to pull out to Halloween Havoc. And the returns were great, even though the crowd didn't pop.
Justin, what do you rate it?
It's 7.5, 8 range, but also what Jesse's saying, it did enough to bookend enough stories that if people do get pulled out for the draft, it's not like they just cut off a storyline right then and there. But if they wanted to add an epilogue, maybe at Halloween Havoc for a blow-off match, awesome. But also, one last thing we haven't talked about, what the hell is going on at the commentary desk?
Yeah, that's one thing we didn't touch on. But before we do that, I'm going to give it an 8 as well,
Yeah.
just to basically stay in the same train as you guys. But I get what they were doing at the desk. So for those who did not see the commentary desk, it was a 3-person desk like normal. Usually the announcers on NXT, Beth Phoenix, Vic Joseph, Wade Barrett. If you noticed, every week on NXT, Beth is nowhere to be found. It's always Vic and Wade in the booth. But this time, the booth was on the floor, not usually like up in the rafters like it usually was the past couple weeks. But Vic was there, normal Vic, chilling at the table. But to the left was some random chick, and to the right was some random dude. Maybe they had COVID and they had to separate themselves.
But then why put in stand-ins is my thing.
I think they wanted to make
Maybe
it
to look.
Maybe they were the play-by-play for different languages.
That's what there was a few things on Twitter. They said that, or maybe they were auditioning like as if they were calling it in real time.
Oh, that's good too. Yeah, that makes sense.
But even if that's the auditioning part, that makes sense. But if it's just a fill-in spot, get someone that looks like Beth Phoenix.
Yeah, Beth Phoenix is blonde.
Yeah, and get someone who has a beard like Barrett has a beard. Because at first I said, "Oh, Barrett shaved," and like, no.
If it's my guess, it was international teams.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Just to consolidate space.
Because Vic was there alone for the play-by-play.
Yeah.
So it makes sense if they
they're also to themselves.
They were feeding in color in other languages from other spots because they already had the 3-person table then.
Probably something might come out.
Because the most important one is the play-by-play. They don't want that audio to go out. It doesn't matter if like Beth or Wade Barrett has like connection issues because they can fill time. But the play-by-play is probably
most important.
Yeah, so I think that's probably why.
Yeah, but
and especially with crowds, they probably wanted to cut down on as much space as possible. But also, it's not Full Sail, so that's why they didn't have them up in the rafters because the Performance Center doesn't have that.
It's PC, yeah, or the CWC now is what they call it. The CW, well, something will probably come out. Maybe something was said in the Triple H press conference after.
Yeah,
not sure.
He always addresses that.
Yeah, so maybe we'll get a follow-up next Saturday or when we record, or Sunday when this is uploaded next week. But hey, that does it for this
Very
episode.
good show.
Great show, right? Like, we love a nice short, right to the point. Didn't go 5 hours like WrestleMania. Perfect hour, a 2-hour show, was it about?
We're done recording by 11 o'clock. The show was done by like 9:20. You watch the end of the finals. Perfect, done. Thank you.
That's all.
That is the best thing to come out of the quarantine era of wrestling. Shorter shows and better shows that aren't dragged on.
And they're better. That's the thing too. The NXT always puts on the best shows. We know that by now.
Quality over quantity.
Exactly, Justin. Couldn't have said any better myself. And on that note, we're going to end this episode right there. So thank you guys for listening to this episode of the Department Podcast. All 3 of us really do appreciate you guys taking your time to listen to us. But to make sure you guys never miss an episode, please subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. Also follow us on our socials because we'll be promoting our stuff and all that fun stuff. So follow us at Department_pod on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. We'll probably have a finals recap eventually. I keep on saying we have stuff coming up, but we have nothing. We don't know what we're doing yet.
Nope,
finals,
just
playoffs.
pulling it when we want to do something.
Exactly. So just keep on the lookout for final stuff. NFL one's definitely getting filmed this week and uploaded on Tuesday. Yeah, NFL's getting uploaded on Tuesday, so stay tuned to the Week 4 recap for that. Finals is coming eventually. MLB playoffs is coming really soon because that's moving pretty quick. So stay tuned to that, and we'll see you in the next episode.